Hey y'all, I'm Robert Henson, and this is a channel dedicated to great food and great people. Today we're going to talk about smoked salmon. Couple different ways, very simple to make, very easy to make. We have a couple options. We have the brine or the rub, and then we have the smoke. So first, let's talk a little bit about the difference in the two. The first is a brine, where you actually would put it in a wet brine, or you have the option of doing a dry rub. And dry rub is nothing more than equal parts of sugar and salt and anything that you choose to put in it. We're going to leave this very basic and very easy for you. The other options that we're going to have later in the video is we're going to discuss a cold heat compared to a hot heat. So let's get started on making our salmon. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make our rub and then marinate it for 12 to 24 hours. So let's get started on making our salmon and our rub. Here's our salmon. So we've chosen to do an Atlantic salmon. We're going to start with our brine. We're going to start with a 1/4 cup. So it's a 1/4 cup of salt and a 1/4 cup of sugar per 2 pounds of salmon. So we're going to do a 1/4 cup of, this is about a 2 pound side. We're going to do a 1/4 cup of each. So we'll start with our salt. 1/4 cup. And I like to use a little white sugar and a little brown sugar. So we'll do 1/8 of a cup of white, 1/8 of a cup of brown, and then we're going to take some peppercorns and crack that into it. Alright guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to take some of our peppercorn, take a saute pan, and start crushing our peppercorn. Just like so. So now that we've got our peppercorn crushed, we'll just slide it into our bowl, stir this together. Now what this brine is going to do, or what this rub is going to do, is it's actually going to pull the moisture out of the salmon itself. So we're going to take this, lay some of the cure on the bottom. Now we are using a skin-on salmon. So as you can see, this will help actually hold it together. And then we're going to take the remainder of the rub and add to the salmon. Give it a nice little rub. We'll take a couple pieces of our fresh rosemary, lay this on top. And I like to take a piece of saran wrap. I'll lay this on top of the salmon just loosely, and the reason I do that is so the salt itself does not have a chemical reaction with the foil. We'll lay our pieces of aluminum foil on top, like so. And then we'll start scrunching this together. I like to start at the end, sort of scrunch. We'll scrunch this in. We'll scrunch this in and scrunch this in. We're going to lay this on the rack, put it in the refrigerator for about 24 hours. And then we'll take it from there, put it on the smoker tomorrow for about 150 degrees. Alright, so now after curing our salmon, we refrigerated for about 16 hours. And I just loosely put the rosemary on. If you want more pungent, I would recommend chopping the rosemary and actually rubbing it into the salmon itself. And this was just going to be a hint. Wash off your salmon and air dry it for about 2 or 3 hours on a rack. And that will make the pellicle, which is like a tackiness of the salmon. We're now going to smoke our salmon at approximately 150 to 160 degrees. I took the grill and set it on smoke and hit the pause all the way down up to 7, which creates more smoke and less heat. And as you can see from the pan that I'm about ready to show, we lost about 25% of the weight from the water molecules of the fish itself. So we've cooked this now to about a temperature of 150. It was about 161 at the tail and 150 degrees at the solid part of the salmon, the thickest part. But it really turned out well. Don't be scared to do this. It's very simple. It's very easy. I had so much fun doing this. Let's talk a little bit about the Pit Boss. It's become a time saver for me. I was a stick burner before, and this is sort of a set it and forget it. I highly recommend that you look into a pellet stove. Thank you for watching. Hit the like, subscribe, and the bell. God bless.